Hey guys, what's up? I'm back again today with another deck profile for Infernoid Lair Darkness. It's an updated deck profile. I based this off of my Infernoid build, my pure Infernoid build that I had a lot more success with than I have with Lair Infernoid. And I think the biggest reason I had more success with pure Infernoids is because of this guy right here. Being able to mill your cards into the grave gets them there like as fast as possible. It's still a 40 card deck. You're going to see the cards that you need and you're going to be able to summon your Infernoids. I also went back to this idea because what I'm running is very, very close to what a guy at my locals plays, and he just got sixth at a regionals a few hours away in Texas. So his build was very impressive, and it went along with like my ideas of punishing your opponents for playing hand traps. So there are some changes, and I do have one proxy, and I will be talking about things that I will add to this deck to make it as solid as possible. And right now I'm seeing a lot of success with this. I took out the Lair cards except for the field spell and one Diabolos, as you'll see. Arima was just too slow. It's just the way that the format is, it's just not fast enough to deal with all the other cards in the game right now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get into it, and I'll explain everything as I go along. So main deck, start with the monsters as always. So basically the MVP right here is Raiden. Raiden, 2 of, mills your cards, mills 4 cards a turn, 2 cards, and then you can synchro into an Omega. Sorry, I kind of stuttered for a second. You can synchro into an Omega, a Beals, any sort of rank 8 that you want to. 7s if you run that. I don't personally, but Raiden is a huge key into how fast this deck is. Next, I run the 2 Infernoid Anokus. Not a lot of changes in my Infernoids. 2 Deviatis. Perfect for the big guys. You got to run this as a 3 of. You got your 3 Decatrons. We'll put it right there like that. You got to run the 3 Decatrons. Otherwise, your Infernoids just aren't going to be as consistent. It can literally be any Infernoid, so it is the best Infernoid. And having 2 Raiden that can literally put multiple Infernoids in the grave on your first turn, and then next turn being able to bring out Decatron, you can go into Xyz plays. You can literally just make the board that you want the next turn, sometimes first turn. So it's very, very good. Next, the babies. 2 Harmadic, 2 Patrulia. The dude at my locals, he runs 3 Patrulia, 2 Harmadic. He was running 2 and 2 for the longest time, but he wanted to see a little more Infernoids. I run 14 Infernoids, and I feel like that's more than enough to see in your opening hand and mill, because you have a few cards that can mill in this deck. Quite a few. Next, the 1 Sajet. Very good when Lair Darkness is on the field. Being able to tribute your opponent's monster, then banish a card in the grave. Also, going up against Gokis is very nice because they don't want to banish their extra deck monsters. It attacks, they have to banish an extra deck monster card, which is pretty good once you get a few attacks in and you've made some disruptions. 2 Sajet, the dude at my locals, also the guy who got 6th at the regionals, runs 3 Saitamas, once again, because it's the best one. The best besides Decatron, of course. But it's the one that you want to be able to summon out the most with the Lair Darkness field spell. Being able to banish a card after you attack into another is a great way to get rid of problem monsters, and it doesn't target. Yep. You can just banish 1 card on the field. It does not target. Sorry, I was reading the card. Making sure I was correct. And that's literally it for my Infernoids. You could up the monster count of Infernoids. You could run 3 Saitamas. It's tempting to me. So is running more of the babies, but just for mill purposes. But right now I need to, work with this more and then find the space. But right now this is running very, very well. Online it's crazy. And I'm going to be playing this at locals to see how it does in person. 1 Diabolos because it's too good not to play as a 1 of if you're playing the Lair Darkness field spell. I love it. It's a great card. Being able to, drop a Gamma to rip a card out of somebody's hand because they wanted to play a hand trap, then bring out an Omega, and then bring him out. If you get the Lair Darkness field spell out, you've ripped 3 cards from your opponent's hand first turn. And that's ridiculous. they might as well just scoop at that point unless they have a 2-card combo that's not going to get hit by anything. Next, I play 1 Snow because Snow is Snow. It's broken. You mill so many cards, you're going to mill spells and traps, and they're perfect targets for Fairy Tale Snow. I tend to banish spells and traps and the Radiance once they're in the grave because I'm not bringing these back once they go to the grave. And she's a great way to get into Synchros as well. I still play the Cyframe Gear Gamma package because it punishes hand traps. It punishes any monster effect, really. So going first turn, they want to activate something to pop one of your cards, whether it's an Imagination or a Lair Darkness. You do not have to be scared. You activate it, you make him, you make an Omega, rip a card from their hand. And that's it for my monster count. This is a going first and second build. You have the ability to do both. And before I had a going first build and then I made a going second build, but it's always best to be able to be balanced in between and still not have to worry. So that is it for my monsters. I'm just going to scoop these up. Raiden really is the MVP in my opinion. The only problem is he eats a normal 7 unless you bring out Saryuja and special him out. So there we go. We'll put the monsters right here like that. So let's go into the spells. So of course 3 Lair Darkness. When I side, I tend to side out a Lair Darkness because it is almost just an Infernoid build that abuses the field spell. So you could side that out. You could side out a Diabolos if you feel like it. It's great because it's interchangeable. You can have it at 2 or 3. You're gonna see it most likely. And if you mill it, it's not the biggest deal in the world because you have so many other ways to win the game. Next, 2 Charge of the Light Brigade because this card is broken. You pay for you mill for cost. They can ash it. They can stop you from getting a Raiden, but you still mill 3 cards, and you're still going to most likely mill an Infernoid. And if you have Infernoids in your hand and it seems like a bricky hand, you can at least get one out for some protection. Next, triple Void Vanishment because this card is amazing. The only downside to it is not being able to summon any monsters besides Infernoids after you activate its effect. That is the biggest problem, but I like to play it like immediately to bait a hand trap or a monster effect, and then I bring out my Gamma and make an Omega. Next, 2 Void Imagination because this is a going first and going second deck. I do have my 3rd Imagination, and you could side that in if you're playing against a very extra deck heavy deck, and it'll work amazingly for you. The reason I don't play a 3rd Imagination is because I'm playing 1 Future Fusion. I went away from this for a while, but basically, if your opponent can't respond to Future Fusion, you play it, right? Your first turn. They don't respond to it. They don't really focus on it because they're not too worried about it. The next turn, send every Infernoid you have to the grave. And then the turn after that, you can bring out Tierra if you even need to, if you haven't won the game at that point. Because you have every Infernoid in the grave, you can break their board. Just bring out a Nuku twice, and then bring out, 2 smaller monsters like the level 7 Saitumas, and then just push for damage. It's amazing. It really is. And if you don't answer it, then you basically lose, in my opinion. Because the next turn, if they haven't lost yet, you bring out Tierra, and then you drop 3 Elder Entity cards and pop their field, and then you clear it again. Next, 1 for 1. It's 1 for a reason, because it's pretty good. You ditch a card, so you ditch an Infernoid, and you ditch a monster from your hand, and then you special a level 1 from your deck, which would be Decatron, which turns into any Infernoid that you want it to be. Next, 1 Monster Gate, because when Lair Darkness is on the field, it's great regardless. I would run it regardless without the Lair Darkness field spell, but with it on the field, you contribute your opponent's monster with Monster Gate, mill until you find a card that can be normal summoned. And I run 3 Decatrons, 2 Raiden, a Snow, and a Diabolos. I guess you can count the Cyframe cards. So 7 normal summon monsters. You're going to mill quite a few cards usually before you get to it. But even if you don't, that's okay because you got another mill card, and it's my proxy, Reasoning. I'm going to pick one up on Wednesday at Locals. But Reasoning, I wasn't running it before because I didn't think it was necessary, but why not run a card that's going to mill everything if that's like my focus in this deck? So you have 2 Charge of the Light Brigades, a Monster Gate, you have a Reasoning, 1 for 1 technically, and your Decatron mills. You have your Raiden, who also mills, And if you bring out Tierra, that mills as well. Future Fusion mills, and so does Void Imagination. So you have all these cards that can get the cards that you need in the graveyard, so it's not something that you're too worried about. Next, I can't cut this card because it's vital. One burial from a different dimension. You could play two. I like the idea of two, but I don't have the space for it because I want to play a lot of other things that advance my game state. So one of those, because you recycle your banished cards, 3 of them, up to 3 of them, put them back in your grave, and you can go back to special summoning again. Yeah, so it's great. And Omega recycles banished monsters as well. And then, of course, 3 Void Feast, standard. Side these out game 2. I need the Waking the Dragons. I'm going to pick all this stuff up on Wednesday, and I'm going to tell you guys how it does, and I'll do a deck review depending on how it does, regardless. And show you guys what I played, what I sided, and whatnot. Waking the Dragons, I do have an Neteria Exteria, I think it is, the fusion, that literally shuts down all your spells, opponent's spells and traps. You bring out a couple Deviatis in a Decatron and an actual Deviati, and you shut down everything that they do. And they might as well just scoop at that point. So that is it for my main deck. It's a very solid main deck, and it's very, very good. I suggest you try it. I say you should try every build that I show you guys and not just blindly build it, because I want you to see how it works. This deck is extremely fast. You're playing Infernoid, so bricking is something that you can't necessarily help. You draw all monsters, it's a brick. You draw almost all monsters, and you play a spell, and it gets negated, it's a brick. But, you know, that can't be helped in any deck. So this deck is extremely fast. It gets you where you need to be, and having Snow just to push for damage and flip cards face down is amazing. So the 3 Elder Entities in my extra deck, they're strictly there for Tierra to dump and for them to pop cards and break my opponent's field. I cut down to 1 Tierra because there was no point in running 2. I just had the other one in there because it was an ulti. So I have 2 ulti Tierras. They're unlimited. I was supposed to get first editions in the mail. I got gypped on quite a few of the cards that I ordered. And they said that they were going to be first edition. And they came unlimited, like one of my Anukus, one of my ultis. Also, one of my ulti Anukus didn't come in the mail. Neither did one of my Dark World cards. I showed you guys in an old video. I tried to max rarity Dark Worlds. But yeah, Tierra dumps those 3 and pops opponent's cards on the field, and you just kind of clear it out, and then you push for damage. Right now, 1 Omega, it's going to be pushed to 2. I would even possibly play it at 3. It's too good. It's just so good. And when he comes back on the field, he kind of stops your Infernoids from being able to be special summoned, because it can't be higher than level 8 on the field, or 8 levels on the field. So you just ditch him again and rip the card right back out of your opponent's hand. And it's just too good. 1 Bills, because it gets over a lot of problem monsters. Just hope that no one ever drops Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon on you. Or they can attack over it. They can just push any sort of damage to you, and you're going to get burned out for your life points. 1 number 42, because it's too good. It's an automatic Saryuja, automatic Borreload, whatever you need in the moment. I don't run any of the Nightmares in this deck. I use them in my World Chalice. I feel like they're easier to bring out in World Chalice. Not that they're hard to bring out in this deck once you get out Galaxy Tomahawk, but I just don't feel the need to do it. You don't have to go into your extra deck all that much. But when you do, it's important. You play the most important card. So 1 Link Spider, this is for the number 42 play. 1 Proxy, also for the play. So you can go ahead and start making your Borreload or whatever. 1 Killeport Genius, also for number 42's play, because it takes machine monsters. It also has a very good effect of negating a card on the field. 1 Doolittle Chimera, because you can just drop this and push for damage. It makes all fire monsters 500 attack stronger. I really like that they've come out with like attribute link cards that make like Mrs. Radiant makes Earth stronger. Water has one, and Mistar Boy. Doolittle Chimera is the fire version. I'm waiting for the light version because it'd be really cool with Magical Musketeers. Next, 1 Decode Talker, just because it just gains attack, and it has a negate ability with like a tribute. You can tribute a card it points to and negate effect. I don't know if Lair Darkness's effect works with him, because it says a card that it points to. But regardless, it does have a negation effect, which is nice. And then, of course, the Borreload and Saryuja. These two guys are amazing. I only go into Borreload to push for damage. Like, if I know I can win the game, I bring him out. And if I want to, like, advance my, like, card advantage, I go with Skull Dread. And I'm able to do a lot of stuff in there, and it bulks up your Infernoid monsters as well when they go into the Link Zones. The only problem is he has a Link Zone for them too. But yeah, that's my main deck and my extra deck. I will be pushing this up to 2 Omegas. I also need a Reasoning, and it's very fast and it's very good. Basically, like my main focus is being able to get out Omega as quick as I can, and being able to rip cards from my opponent's hand. Just abusing the field spell, getting Infernoids in the grave, and ripping cards out of my opponent's hand so they can't play. It's a pretty good strategy, and it's been working for me so far. If you want to try out the build, go right ahead and let me know how it works. Let me know what you think. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. Look out for more videos. I'm going to have some World Chalice stuff coming out. That was the top 5 cards of my deck, just like a little test hand for you, which is a very good test hand. Yeah, just look out for more stuff. If you're an Infernoid player, Infernoid Lair player, I do have other options for you guys. So thanks again. Like and subscribe. If you don't like the video, please tell me why. And if you do like the video, please tell me why, if you've made it this far. So, all right, guys, I'm out. Deuces.